The conference room fell silent as Chinedu Okafor stood at the podium. 50 pairs of eyes watched him present development plans for the Ajigunal Community Center. A woman stood up from the middle row, her voice clear and challenging. "How do we know you'll keep these promises?" she asked. "Developers always push us out." Chinedu's heart stopped. That voice. After 22 years he would know it anywhere. "May I ask your name?" he managed to say. "Ngozi Yves," she replied. 22 years earlier, 10-year-old Chinedu sat outside the fence of Surulere Primary School, dying of hunger. His mother had passed away 2 weeks before. Foster care had tried once, but the family said he was too difficult. They put him back. For 14 days, Chinedu slept in doorways and dug through trash bins. By day 14 he could barely walk. He found the primary school and sat outside during lunch recess, watching children eat and play. A teacher noticed him. "You need to leave. You're scaring the students." Chinedu tried to stand but his legs buckled. The teacher walked away. That's when he saw her. A girl with braided hair, maybe 9 years old, stood on the other side of the fence watching him. Their eyes met. She didn't look scared. She looked sad. Ngozi Yves lived 3 blocks from that school in a small flat with peeling paint. Her grandmother raised her while her parents worked 3 jobs between them. Breakfast was Gary. Lunch was school provided. Dinner was rice and beans. They survived barely. But Ngozi's grandmother always said, "Child, we may not have much, but we always share what we have." That day at recess, Ngozi's friends called her. "Ngozi, come and play." But Ngozi couldn't move. She stared at the boy outside the fence. He was so thin, his clothes torn, his face hollow. He looked like he was dying. Her friend Amaka ran over. "What are you looking at?" "That boy," Ngozi said softly. "Oh, him. He's been there for days. He's creepy." "He's not creepy. He's hungry. Not our problem. He's just a child like us," Ngozi said. She looked at her lunch box. A bread and egg sandwich, an orange, a juice box. Her whole lunch. The only food until dinner. Her grandmother's voice echoed in her head, "We always share what we have." Ngozi grabbed her lunch box and walked to the fence. "Ngozi, where are you going?" Amaka called. She ignored her. Up close the boy looked worse. His eyes were glassy. His lips were cracked and bleeding. "Hello," Ngozi said softly. "I'm Ngozi. You look hungry." The boy tried to speak but nothing came out. Ngozi pushed her lunch box through the fence. "Take it. It's okay." The boy grabbed the sandwich and ate it in 4 bites, tears streaming down his face. Ngozi watched him eat everything. The orange, the juice, even the small biscuits. When he finished, he looked at her with broken eyes. "Thank you." His voice was barely a whisper. Ngozi's heart broke into pieces. "What's your name?" she asked gently. "Chinedu." "Are you okay, Chinedu?" He shook his head slowly. "No." Ngozi felt tears in her own eyes. "I'll bring you lunch tomorrow too." Chinedu's eyes widened in surprise. "You will?" "I promise." The bell rang. Ngozi had to go back to class but she looked back 3 times. Chinedu sat there clutching the empty juice box, watching her walk away. That night, Ngozi's grandmother noticed her packing extra food. The old woman said nothing at first. She just watched. Then she quietly put more bread and eggs in the lunchbox. By the 2nd week, Ngozi's entire family knew what she was doing. Her parents worked extra hours. Her grandmother cooked more food. All so that Ngozi could keep feeding the hungry boy. Every day for 6 months, Ngozi brought lunch to the fence. Every day Chinedu was there waiting. They would talk while he ate. "What did you learn today?" Chinedu would ask. Ngozi would tell him about her lessons, the books she was reading, the math problems she solved. Chinedu listened to every word like it was gold. "You're so smart," he would say. "You're smart too," Ngozi always replied. "You ask good questions." "I don't feel smart." "Well, you are. Don't forget it." By week 3, other children started teasing Ngozi. They called her strange. They said she was wasting her food. Her friend Amaka tried to pull her away every day. "You're being weird, Ngozi," Amaka would say. But Ngozi didn't stop. Chinedu mattered more than their opinions. In week 4, a teacher named Mrs. Adeyemi caught Ngozi at the fence. "What are you doing?" she demanded. Ngozi begged her. "Please, Ma. He'll starve if I don't help him." Mrs. Adeyemi looked at Chinedu. Really looked. She saw the hollow cheeks, the desperate eyes, the trembling hands. "I didn't see anything," Mrs. Adeyemi finally said. Then she walked away. The next day, Mrs. Adeyemi started leaving extra snacks in Ngozi's cubby. Meat pies, plantain chips, oranges. She never said anything about it, but Ngozi understood. Then December came. Winter arrived in Lagos with cold winds and rain. Chinedu sat outside in a thin shirt with holes. No jacket. No shoes. His lips turned blue from the cold. That afternoon, Ngozi ran home and grabbed everything she could find. Her own jacket, her father's old gloves, a scarf, a blanket from her bed. Take these, she said, pushing them through the fence. No, Chinedu protested. You'll be cold. I have another jacket at home, Ngozi lied. For 2 months, Ngozi shivered through recess in just a sweater. She got sick with fever, but she never told Chinedu the truth. Her grandmother worried. Child, where is your jacket? I lost it, Grandma. But her grandmother knew. She always knew. In week 5 of the cold season, Chinedu got very sick. Fever burned through his small body. He coughed so hard he couldn't stand up. When Ngozi saw him, she thought he was dying. She ran home crying. Grandma, Grandma, please help him. Her grandmother didn't ask questions. She grabbed medicine, hot soup, and tea. They went to the fence together. For 2 weeks, Ngozi and her grandmother nursed Chinedu back to health through that fence. The medicine was expensive. They had been saving it for Ngozi's grandfather, who was also sick. But Ngozi's grandmother gave it to Chinedu instead. Chinedu slowly got better. He never knew how much they had sacrificed. The medicine they needed. The food they went without. The cold Ngozi endured. 6 months passed like this. 120 days of Ngozi bringing food. 120 days of Chinedu surviving because someone cared. Then everything changed. One morning, Mrs. Adeyemi pulled Ngozi aside. Child, I need to tell you something. Social services found Chinedu a foster home. He's leaving tomorrow. Ngozi's world stopped. Tomorrow? Yes, this is good news. He'll have a home now. But Ngozi couldn't breathe. Tomorrow. One more day. That was all she had left. The next day, Ngozi packed the biggest lunch she had ever made. Sandwiches, meat pies, oranges, biscuits, juice, plantain chips. Everything she could fit in her bag. At recess, she ran to the fence. Chinedu was already there, his eyes red from crying. You're leaving? Ngozi said, her voice breaking. Yes. They found me a family. That's good, Chinedu. You'll be safe now. But both of them were crying. 6 months of friendship. 6 months of survival. It was ending. Chinedu looked at her with fierce determination in his young eyes. Ngozi, I'm going to get rich one day. I promise. And when I do, I'll come back for you. I'll marry you. Ngozi laughed through her tears. They were just children. 10 and 9 years old. We're too young to talk about marriage, Chinedu. I don't care. I mean it. I'll find you. I promise. Ngozi touched the red ribbon in her hair. It was her favorite thing. Slowly, she untied it and tore it in half. She tied one half around Chinedu's thin wrist. Keep this. So you remember. Remember what? That someone cares about you. That you matter. Chinedu held up his wrist, looking at the red ribbon. I'll never take it off. Never. And I'll keep my half, Ngozi said, holding the other piece. Until we meet again. A social worker called for Chinedu. It was time to go. They stood on opposite sides of the fence, both crying, both holding their pieces of ribbon. Thank you, Ngozi, Chinedu whispered. You saved my life. Survive, Chinedu. Become something great. I will. For you. He turned and walked away. Ngozi watched until he disappeared. She clutched her half of the ribbon and whispered, Please don't forget me. 22 years would pass before they saw each other again. But neither of them would forget. Not for a single day. 22 years later, Chinedu Okafor woke up in a luxury penthouse in Victoria Island, Lagos. Floor-to-ceiling windows showed the Atlantic Ocean stretching endlessly. Sunrise painted the water gold. He didn't notice. He never did. His apartment was silent. Always silent. No photos on the walls, no personal touches. It looked like a hotel. Felt like a tomb. His phone buzzed. His assistant sent a message. Board meeting at 9 a.m. The Lekki deal closed. 12 million naira. Chinedu texted back one word, good. 12 million naira. He felt nothing. He walked to his home office and unlocked a drawer. Inside was a small glass frame containing a faded red ribbon. This was the only thing that mattered. He touched the glass gently. 22 years old. The fabric was falling apart despite careful preservation. Every morning he looked at it. Every morning the same thought, where is she? Chinedu had become everything he promised. From that homeless boy he built a business empire. Mitchell and Associates was now one of Lagos's biggest development companies. But none of it meant anything without Ngozi. For 5 years he had been searching. 3 private investigators. Hundreds of thousands of naira spent. Nothing. The last report said, "We've exhausted all leads. Ngozi is too common a name. Family left no forwarding address after 2008. Chinedu pulled up a map of Lagos on his computer. 12 red pins marked properties he owned. All within 3 kilometers of Surulere Primary School. If Ngozi was still in Lagos, she would be in that neighborhood helping people. That's who she was. So he bought properties there, developed them, created reasons to be there constantly. Hoping. Waiting. Searching. His business partner, Tund, thought he was crazy. Why buy an Ajigunal? There's no profit for years. I have my reasons, Chinedu always said. This is about that girl, isn't it? The one you're looking for. Chinedu's jaw would tighten. Drop it. Maybe she doesn't want to be found. I said drop it. But Tun was wrong. Chinedu had to find her. Had to keep his promise. It was the only thing keeping him going. His phone buzzed again. A reminder, community meeting tonight at 7 p.m. Ajigunal Community Center. Chinedu usually sent representatives to these meetings. But something made him type, I'll attend personally. He didn't know why. Just a feeling. That afternoon, Chinedu sat alone in his office. He opened the file on Ngozi one more time. Read through everything. Every dead end. Every failed search. He looked at the childhood photo investigators had found. 9-year-old Ngozi with braided hair, smiling at the camera. The same smile that had saved his life. Where are you? He whispered. At 6:45, Chinedu grabbed his coat. He touched the ribbon in his desk drawer one more time. I'm coming, Ngozi. I don't know if you're there, but I'm coming. He had no idea that in 3 hours his 5-year search would finally end. Ngozi would be at that meeting. And she had been thinking about him every single day for 22 years too. The boy who promised to return when he was rich was about to keep his word. Chinedu arrived at the Ajigunal Community Center at 6:55. The building was old with chipped paint and flickering lights, but it was clean and cared for. Inside, about 50 people filled the folding chairs. Families, elders, young activists. Everyone turned to look at him. His expensive suit felt wrong here. A woman at the registration table looked up. Name? Chinedu Okafor. Mitchell and Associates. Her expression changed, became guarded. The developer. You're actually here. Yes. Most developers send lawyers. I'm not most developers, Chinedu said quietly. She handed him a name tag. We'll see. Heads turned as he walked in. Whispers rippled through the room. That's him. The millionaire. Probably here to push us all out. Chinedu found a seat in the back. An elderly woman stood at the front. Welcome. I'm Mrs. Okonkwo, Community Board President. Tonight we discussed the proposed development. Mitchell and Associates wants to build housing and renovate our center. She paused, looking directly at Chinedu. But we've heard promises before. Murmurs of agreement filled the room. Mr. Okafor will present his plans. Then we ask questions. Real questions. Chinedu stood and walked to the front. 50 pairs of eyes tracked him. He opened his presentation on the projector. Beautiful buildings, green spaces, community facilities. Good evening. I'm Chinedu Okafor. I grew up not far from here. I know what broken promises look like. That got their attention. I'm proposing affordable housing. Not luxury apartments. 60% of units reserved for current residents at current rent rates. Surprised murmurs spread through the crowd. The community center will be fully renovated. New everything. All funded by my company. We'll also create a job training program and hire locally. He paused. I know you don't trust me yet, but I'm not here to push you out. I'm here to give back. Hands shot up immediately. Mrs. Okonkwo pointed. Yes, Emeka. A young man stood. Mr. Okafor, what's affordable to a millionaire versus someone making minimum wage? Units will be priced based on area median income. We're working with the housing authority, Chinedu answered. More hands. An elderly woman stood. What about current businesses? We're offering lease protections and relocation assistance. Then a voice from the middle of the room cut through. How do we know you'll keep these promises? Developers always push us out. Chinedu turned toward the voice and froze completely. A woman in her early 30s stood with a notepad. Professional attire. Natural hair. Something about her voice made his heart stop. I grew up in this neighborhood, she continued. I've seen promises broken. So how do we know you're different? Their eyes met. Chinidu couldn't breathe. It couldn't be. I'm a social worker at this center, she said. I see homeless children every day. Your buildings mean nothing if our most vulnerable are displaced. Chinidu stared. 22 years had passed. But the eyes, the way she spoke, the passion in her voice. He found his voice somehow. You're right to be skeptical. May I ask your name? Ngozi Ease. The room tilted. Chinidu gripped the table to keep from falling. Ngozi Ease. After 5 years of searching, she was here, standing right in front of him. But she didn't recognize him. The community meeting continued. By the end, everyone voted unanimously to approve Chinidu's project. As people left, many stopped to hug Ngozi and shake Chinidu's hand. Finally, the room emptied. Just the two of them remained. I want to help you, Chinidu said. Student loans, rent, whatever you need. Ngozi held up her hand. Stop. I didn't feed you so you'd owe me. I did it because it was right. Then let me give back to the community. To kids like I was. Chinidu showed her his phone. Photos of affordable housing projects, scholarship programs for foster youth, job training initiatives. You remembered everything I said, Ngozi whispered, tears forming. How could I forget? You saved my soul. 2 weeks later, Chinidu called Ngozi to his office. He showed her a presentation, the Red Ribbon Initiative. A 10 million naira program for youth aging out of foster care. Housing, scholarships, job training, mental health services. Everything they needed. But the program needs a director, Chinidu said. Someone like you. He handed her a folder. Executive Director. Salary 120,000 naira per year. Full benefits. Complete operational control. This is real? Ngozi asked, shaking. You'll work harder than ever. But you can actually help kids. Build something better. Ngozi read the contract. And this is separate from us? Whatever happens between us personally, this program stands. You have legal protections. Ngozi looked out at Lagos. What if I fail? Then we learn and try again. But I don't think you'll fail. She turned back. I have conditions. I hire from communities we serve. I keep working 1 day weekly at the center. Done. We'll write it into your contract. Ngozi took a deep breath. Then yes, let's save some kids. 6 months later, the program had served 127 youth. 89% stayed in the program. The national average was 40%. Emeka, a boy aging out of foster care, graduated from welding school and got a job. 42,000 naira per year. He sent Ngozi a card, "You're the only mother I've ever had." The media noticed. News stations ran features. The story went viral. A promise kept after 22 years. People across Nigeria tied red ribbons to their wrists, committing to help one person in need. The movement spread. 34 cities created similar programs. At the 6-month anniversary gala, 500 people filled the ballroom. Chinidu spoke about the program's success. Then he paused and looked at Ngozi. But none of this would exist without one person. He got down on one knee. The room gasped. He pulled out a ring with a red ruby. Ngozi Ease, 22 years ago I promised I'd marry you when I was rich. Will you marry me? Ngozi was crying and smiling. Yes. Yes, I'll marry you. The room erupted in applause and cheers. 1 year later, they married at Surulere Primary School. The fence where it all began had been preserved with a plaque, "Where kindness began." After the wedding, a young girl approached. "Excuse me. I'm hungry." Ngozi and Chinidu looked at each other. They brought her inside, fed her, made sure she was safe. Chinidu tied a red ribbon around her wrist. "Keep this. Someone believes in you. I promise you'll be okay." The Red Ribbon Initiative served 847 youth in 2 years. Replicated in 34 cities. Every participant received a ribbon. Chinidu and Ngozi walked hand in hand into their center. Behind them, hundreds of red ribbons fluttered on the fence. They were expecting their first child. A daughter they would name Hope. A sandwich given in kindness had changed the world. We've come to the end of today's story. I hope it touched your heart. Thanks for watching and staying with us till the end. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories. See you in the next one. And tell us in the comments, where are you watching from?